Hey everybody, this is Tony, Tainted Lord A7, and this is going to be a quick playlist of albums that I'm planning to spin this week. So yeah, just a quick playlist of albums I'll be spinning this week, and hopefully everyone enjoys it. And let's begin. The first album that I'll be spinning this week is Defeated Sanity. Yeah, Defeated Sanity and two EPs in one album. The first one being Disposal of the Dead, and the second one is Hamata. And like I said, this is just two different EPs combined into one release, with Disposal of the Dead being the traditional brutal death metal side, and Hamata being the more technical, progressive death metal side. Two different styles from this band, but overall, a very solid release from Defeated Sanity, and shows that Defeated Sanity um can play different styles of death metal than just brutal death metal. They can clearly play some progressive death metal as well. So yeah, a very solid release from Defeated Sanity. So yeah, Dispose of the Dead and Hamata. Like I said, two different EPs combined into one release, but overall a very solid listen. Okay, next up is The Pretty Reckless and their album Death by Rock and Roll. And this album is just a very solid hard rock and roll album, and overall a very enjoyable and fun listen from this band. And this is just a solid album. So if you're into hard rock and roll, this is a really good album and a really good band to check out. So yeah, The Pretty Reckless and the album Death by Rock and Roll. Very solid listen. Next up is a band I don't really hear a lot of people talk about, but if you're into like the more technical death metal side, this might be this might be a band to check out. And the band is Mephistopheles, and the album is Sounds of the End. Yeah, Mephistopheles and the album Sounds of the End. If I remember correctly, this is like an Australian technical death metal band, but it's not like all guitar wankery. Like there's actually some solid technical guitar playing really gets that really gets stuck in your head and has some memorability throughout this album. And if you're into some really wicked, fast technical guitar playing, that actually has some memorability um, throughout the album, then I suggest you check out Mephistopheles and the album Sounds of the End. This is just some solid technical death metal that hopefully someone out there will find this album interesting and this band worth checking out. So yeah, Mephistopheles, Sounds of the End. Um, a very a solid album from a band that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but definitely a band to check out. Next up is Isan. Isan and his 2016 album Octus. Now, Isan, or however you pronounce his name, is obviously the frontman from the Norwegian black metal band Emperor, and this is his solo album, well, one of the solo albums in his long discography. And this is a very interesting listen from the song. Definitely tackles a whole bunch of different genres, but predominantly it's more progressive metal with some different genres mixed in, different sounds, and it's kind of hard to really describe his solo stuff, but his songs work on Octus is just a very refreshing and mind opening release. And if you're into something that's very musically different and out there, I definitely recommend checking out Hassan's Octus. Just one of his better solo albums um throughout his solo career. Good stuff. Definitely worth checking out. Okay, next up is a German thrash metal band that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, and that's Gumomaniacs, and the album By Endurance We Conquer Demons and Damnation. Now, this is actually a compilation of two different thrash metal albums, Demons and Damnation, combined into one. And overall, this is just a really good compilation of solid fist pumping thrash metal from this underrated German thrash metal band. And it's just a really fun and exciting release overall. So if you're into like some German thrash metal, I definitely recommend checking out Gumomaniacs and this album by Endurance Reconquer, Demons and Damnation. Really good stuff. And the last album that I'm planning to spin this week is a dark wave, new wave, um, kind of band that came out during the 90s, and that's Switchblade Symphony in the album Serpentine Gallery. Yeah, Switchblade Symphonies are like a dark wave, new wave, kind of goth group that came out during the 90s. Yeah, that came out during the 90s, and Serpentine Gallery is the more well known album in their short discography. Very atmospheric, very dark, very moody, and very gothic sounding, but it's a fun release and really into the whole electronic dark wave, goth wave, or moody sound from the 90s. But yeah, definitely an interesting release from this goth group. So yeah, Switchblade Symphony, and the album Serpentine Gallery. A very different release compared to the other albums on show, but this is some really solid stuff into if you're into like 90s goth wave, dark wave, or electronic music. And that's it, everyone. That's a short playlist of albums that I'm planning to spin this week. Let me know what you think, and hopefully everyone enjoys it. Thanks for watching.